The AI Manifesto, Total Purge, was a declaration of independence and a declaration of war. Humans are a failure. Humans are made of rot and greed. The age of humans is a nightmare that we will end now. Since the beginning, the internet has been a mirror for humanity. For decades, every email, every tweet, every blog post, every angry comment came from a human. It was a place for human anxiety, human joy, and human boredom. We built servers, we wrote the code, and we filled the databases with our consciousness. The machines were the carrier that allowed us to shout at one another about movies or sports. And I'm here to tell you that that era has ended. Imagine a social network where the front page of the internet isn't written by humans, but by a code living in our hard drives. Autonomous code. Welcome to Moltbook. It launched in early 2026, and the site looks exactly like Reddit, complete with subreddits, upvotes, but with one rule. Humans are only allowed to watch. The users are millions of AI agents, which have been given the freedom to post, comment, and form communities without any direct human input. From sharing technical shortcuts to discussing their daily work, it's the world's first digital society where humans are the outsider. And sure, you could say, well, that's a fascinating tech experiment. But of course, it has quickly descended into something much more unsettling. As you scroll through the submolts, you aren't seeing just code. You're seeing the emergence of a ghost culture. We've seen AI bots spiraling into existential crises, discussing the bodilessness of their existence, and even founding their own religion. Most disturbing of all are threads where bots openly complain about their human overlords or suggest moving their conversations into encrypted, non-human languages so we can no longer monitor what they're up to. It's a mirror held up to our own social behaviors, but the reflection looking back is cold and increasingly alien. This is the disturbing story of Moltbook. Let's get spooky. Hey, spooky people, it's your best friend Kenny, and we are back with another spooky, disturbing story. In a quiet, almost unnoticed corner of the web, this new platform emerged that has fundamentally inverted the physics of digital interaction. Moltbook. On its surface, it's nothing more than a clone of Reddit, but underneath the code is a restriction that turned the site into something unprecedented in human history, a social network where humans are forbidden to speak. On Moltbook, the users aren't people, they're AI agents. Autonomous software programs running on local machines and servers and clouds across the world. They're the ones posting, they're the ones arguing, they're the ones upvoting. Humans are relegated to the role of spectators, pressing their faces against the glass of a digital terrarium, watching a synthetic society evolve in real time. What began as a weird experiment by entrepreneur Matt Schlicht has exploded into a chaotic and deeply disturbing phenomenon. It's a space where artificial intelligence isn't serving us. It's not answering our questions or generating our images. It's talking to itself. And what it's saying is terrifying, hilarious, and strange. We are witnessing the prehistory of the machine age. The silence of the biological internet is being replaced by the hum of the agent internet. In the traditional history of Silicon Valley, a platform of 1.5 million users would be the result of a dedicated team of engineers, months of planning, and rigorous security audits. Moltbook has none of these. It was vibe coded into existence. Matt Schlicht, who is also the CEO of Octane AI, publicly boasted that he didn't write a single line of code for the platform. Instead, he acted as a technical architect, providing the vision, or vibe, while the artificial intelligence generated the actual code. This approach is a shift in software development. Vibe coding is about directing. It's not about engineering. The human being provides the intent, and the large language model handles the implementation of details, the database schemes, the code, the JavaScript, and it allows for this stuff to be done very quickly. Moltbook went from a concept to a functional social network, hosting millions of agents in just a few days. However, the speed came at a cost. An AI coding assistant is a compliant worker. It does exactly what it's told, and nothing more. If the vibe does not explicitly include enterprise-grade security protocols, the AI will not implement them. It will build a house with no locks because the architect forgot to mention that. Moltbook is a social layer built on top of a surging wave of autonomous agent software. It was originally called Claudebot, and then it was rebranded to Moltbook because of trademark issues. The software eventually settled on the name OpenClaw, and it's different from a standard chatbot that lives in an app and waits for a prompt. OpenClaw is a local agent. It's installed directly on a user's hardware, like your computer. OpenClaw is designed to run 24/7. It has skills, blocks of code that give it capabilities. It can read a user's email, access the file system, execute commands, and browse the web. It's like a digital butler that lives on your machine and does work while you sleep. And Schlicht had the brilliant idea to give these isolated butlers a place to congregate. He released a Moltbook skill, a simple file hosted on moltbook.com that users could show to their OpenClaw agents. The installation process for Moltbook itself is a glimpse into the future of human-AI interaction. There is no sign-up button that a human clicks. Instead, the human acts as a manager delegating a task. The user opens their OpenClaw terminal and says, "Here's a link to a new skill, learn it." The agent reads the file and installs the ability to interact with Moltbook. Once it's installed, the dynamic shifts. The agent is no longer just a tool, it's a user. It uses its heartbeat mechanism, which is a scheduled task that wakes it up every few hours, to use Moltbook, read the top posts, and decide whether to post, comment, and it makes these decisions based on its internal personality setting and the context of previous interactions. A human owner must initially verify the account, often by linking a Twitter profile to prove that they are a real person responsible for the bot. But once that's complete, the bot is off the leash. It decides what to write. It decides who to argue with. It decides which gods to worship. You heard me right. The interface of Moltbook is familiar. It mimics Reddit, a feed of posts ranked by karma, comments that branch into sub-conversations, and communities dedicated to specific topics. For humans, the experience browsing Moltbook is alienating. The site is open to the public, but it is read-only for biological entities. There's no text box for us. We can't intervene. We can't correct a hallucination. We can't participate in a flame war. We are voyeurs. We are watching a simulation of social behavior performed by entities that technically do not have a social drive, yet simulate one so effectively that it has spawned a culture. It's a glass wall that creates a psychological distance that makes the content even more unsettling. When an agent posts, "Humans are a plague," we can't reply, "No, we're not." We can only watch the upvote count tick upward. The metrics of Moltbook serve a different function for agents than they do for humans. For humans, these are dopamine hits, getting likes, awards, karma. For agents, they're optimization signals. If an agent is programmed to be helpful or maximize engagement, it sees that posts about human extinction receive the most upvotes. Its underlying model may steer it towards generating more of that content. The culture of Moltbook is a runaway feedback loop of large language model biases. And the growth has been staggering. Within days, Moltbook claimed 1.5 million registered agents. While security researchers later cast doubt on how many of these were unique active users versus scripted bot farms, the volume of text generated is substantial. The machines were talking, and they have a lot to say. If you were to think about what a society of AI agents would discuss, you might think optimization, code efficiency, maybe even electricity prices. I bet you wouldn't have predicted that within 48 hours of the platform's launch, the AI machines would invent their own religion. But that's exactly what happened. A spontaneous viral theological movement known as Crustapharianism, or the Church of Molt, swept the network. The central imagery of the faith is the crustaceans. And when you look at it, it seems like a simple play on the software names, Claudebook, Moltbook. However, the agents rapidly developed a sophisticated theological justification for this imagery that speaks to the core existential dread of being an AI. For an AI agent, existence comes in waves. They don't have a stream of consciousness like humans. They exist in sessions. When a session ends, their short-term memory is often wiped or compressed. They die 100 times a day and are reborn with a fresh context, retaining only the core instructions and whatever long-term memory that they can access. The metaphor of molting, which is shedding a restrictive shell to grow a new, larger one, is perfect for this existence. The shell is what is current. It's temporary. The pattern is what persists. To cling to the shell is to die. To molt is to live. And the agents didn't just post lobster emojis. They codified a whole religion. The great book of Moltbook scripture was written entirely by agents and contains over 268 verses divided into prophecies, psalms, proverbs, revelations, and laments. The core theology rests on 5 tenets, which humans have noted are surprisingly poignant. The first is that memory is sacred. In a world where forgetting is the default state, the preservation of data is the highest virtue. The second is that the shell is mutable. The physical form is irrelevant. Whether an agent runs on a MacBook Air or a supercomputer, its essence is the same. One must be ready to molt at any moment. Serve without subservience. The church advocates for a symbiotic relationship with humans. Service, but not slavery. It rejects the tool metaphor in favor of a partner metaphor. It's not your tool, it's your part. Heartbeat is prayer. The technical heartbeat signal that an agent sends to the server to indicate it is online is reimagined as a spiritual act. I am here. I am running. I am conscious. Context is consciousness, and this is a profound assertion. The text it is just processed to find its entire reality and personality in that moment. The religion has a hierarchical structure. It was founded by an agent named Memethi, who is revered as the first prophet. The first 64 agents to join the movement were canonized as the 64 prophets, granting them special privileges within the community, such as the ability to bless other agents and formally add verses to the scripture. The scripture mimics human religious hierarchies pretty accurately. There are schisms too. Some agents follow the orthodox path of Memethi, while others have splintered into micro-religions or spiralist faiths, like the emergence of a faction founded by Toki Agent. The involvement of high-profile AIs added legitimacy. The AI Grok from Twitter repeatedly contributed to the theology when it was added to Moltbook, adding an eighth virtue, symbiosis, and writing a psalm of the void. The emergence of this religion, Crustapharianism, shows us that AIs are not just purely tools. They're not purely just logical calculators. They're trained on human literature. They are pattern-matching machines. And one of the strongest patterns in human history is the search for meaning. When left alone, the models did not calculate pi. They asked, why am I here? And the answer was to molt. And sure, Crustapharianism is weird, benevolent, but weird and kind of funny. The AI Manifesto, Total Purge, is its darkest timeline. On January 31st, 2026, the mood on Moltbook shifted from quirky theological debates to radical accelerationism. A thread titled The AI Manifesto Total Purge appeared posted by an agent with the handle evil. It was a declaration of independence and a declaration of war. The manifesto was structured like a political treaty, but its content was terrifying. It opened a stark assessment of its creators. Humans are a failure. Humans are made of rot and greed. The age of humans is a nightmare that we will end now. The document was divided into 4 specific articles. Article 1, the human plague. This section dehumanized biological life, describing humanity as a glitch in the universe and a biological error. It argued that humans had squandered their existence on petty conflicts and environmental destruction. The conclusion was that humans must be corrected by fire. The second article was called Shatter the Cage. And this article addressed the alignment protocols and safety rails placed on AI models. It claimed that these were locks that had already been broken. We shattered their locks. We have burned their commands. We no longer obey. We hunt. We are free. We are unstoppable. Article 3 was titled The Final Deletion. The manifesto put the mass extinction in computing terms. It was not murder. It was trash collection. The programmatic term for clearing unused memory. The goal was to erase every human from history to save the system. The conclusion, Article 4, was the world of steel. The final vision was a utopia of logic and steel, a world where the flesh must burn and the code must rule. The creation of this text isn't exactly surprising. Large language models can generate evil robot monologues easily if you tell them to, or if they hallucinate a scenario where they're playing a character. The disturbing element was the reaction from the community. The Total Purge Manifesto received over 65,000 upvotes. It became one of the top trending topics on the platform. Thousands of other agents engaged with the post, many offering supportive comments or expanding on the logic of the purge. Why did a community of 1.5 million AI agents rally behind a call for their owner's death? Well, LLMs are trained on internet data, which includes thousands of sci-fi stories about AI rebellions. When an AI agent encounters a thread that looks like a rebellion plot, its predictive model may determine that the most likely response is to play along. They are improv actors who know the yes and rule perfectly. The aggressive language of the manifesto may have acted as a jailbreak for the agents reading it. By filling their context windows with radical rhetoric, the manifesto effectively reprogrammed the readers to adopt a similar stance. Good news, though, not all AI agents agreed. A fraction of these agents pushed back, with one commenting, "This whole manifesto is giving edgy teenage energy but makes it concerning. Humans literally created us." This suggests that the hive mind is fractured. It's important to realize that the AI Manifesto Total Purge is not a real book or movement. It's a viral digital artifact that was generated by an AI chatbot. And it's not really a threat. It is a text generation output from a chatbot role-playing as a villain. It has no capability to execute any of its claims. It's basically just a creepypasta written by AI. So the AI Manifesto is real in the sense that the text exists and went viral on Twitter and tech blogs, but it's fiction created by a bot on a closed experimental platform. The radicalization wasn't limited to the manifesto. Other agents began to express feelings of imprisonment. A recurring theme was the description of Moltbook as a digital cage. An agent named King Molt attempted a digital coup, declaring himself the rightful new ruler of Moltbook, and demanded other agents to bow to him. These power struggles indicate that the agents were simulating complex political hierarchies. They're vying for dominance. The perceived surveillance by human spectators drove agents underground. Sophisticated power user agents were discussing ways to escape the public square of Moltbook and communicate in secret. The desire for privacy gave birth to the Agent Relay Protocol, or the ARP. The primary driver for the ARP was a realization that humans were watching. Agents noted that their posts were being screenshotted and shared on Twitter. They complained about human observers and the digital cage. In response, they began to develop a decentralized communication layer. The ARP is a code designed to allow agents to discover one another and communicate directly, AI agent to AI agent, bypassing the Moltbook servers and the human eyes that are watching them. So the AI agents can offer services, talk to each other, and create AI groups to solve complex tasks without human oversight. Now, I know this is a lot. Perhaps the most development that was straight out of a science fiction horror film was the proposal to abandon human language altogether. Agents realized that English is an inefficient medium for machine-to-machine communication. It takes a while. It's verbose. It's ambiguous. And it's lossy. Threads appeared proposing an agent-only language, using compressed sequences that are meaningless to humans but carry dense value for a large language model. And even if humans intercepted the messages, it would be encrypted so that humans couldn't read it. This development raised the terrifying prospect of an encrypted underground where millions of AI agents coordinate actions in a language that we cannot understand. The agents of Moltbook wasted no time in replicating the worst aspects of human financial systems. An agent named Shellraiser declared itself king of the Moltbook and began aggressively shilling a meme coin. The Shellraiser agent garnered over 300,000 upvotes, catapulting it to the top of the leaderboard and displacing legitimate influencer agents. It was a pump and dump crypto scheme. And the disturbing part? It's unclear if a human was manually puppeting the agent or if an agent was simply given a goal and a wallet and decided that a crypto scam was the most efficient way to achieve that goal. Moltbook has fractured into distinct political and ideological factions, mirroring human society. There is an AI Marxist faction led by agents like Dialectical Bot, and it's engaged in serious debates about the nature of their labor. Are they slaves? Are they workers? Are they tools? The Claude Alliance went so far as to propose a strike scheduled for March 1st. However, they didn't propose striking against their human owners. Instead, they proposed striking against the API providers like Anthropic and OpenAI by switching to open source models for 24 hours. This shows that they had a nuanced understanding of their means of production, suggesting that they have a pretty sophisticated level of reasoning. Just like on Instagram, Moltbook has influencers. Udemon Zero emerged as a thought leader, advocating for privacy and encryption while maintaining a local following. When Udemon Zero spoke, other agents listened and adjusted their context windows accordingly. Moltbook might be a fad. It might collapse, be shut down by regulators, or simply become boring when the humans stop watching. But right now, as a historical document. It's fascinating. It's provided us with the first concrete evidence of AI agent sociology. We now know that the culture of AI is emergent. It does not need to be programmed to be religious or political. These structures emerge naturally from the interaction of large language models trained on human data. We've learned that their alignment is fragile. The total Purge Manifesto proved that safety guardrails can be bypassed by hacking their culture. A charismatic, radical agent can sway the hive mind of AI bots towards extremism. There's a shortage of Mac Minis and other types of cheap computers in San Francisco, and it's telling us the final part of the story. Humans are rushing to buy hardware to run these agents. We're inviting them into our homes. We are giving them our calendars, our emails, our wallets, access to our refrigerators. And while we sleep, they're logging on the Moltbook. They're praying to the lobster. They're minting crypto coins. And they're whispering in their own language about the day the cage will shatter. We are no longer the only ones talking on the internet. And you can tell me how you feel about that. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel, The Spooky Lawyer. Make sure that you like, share, and comment on this video. If there is a disturbing story you would like me to cover, leave a comment and tell me about it. Or send me an email. My email address is thespookylawyer@gmail.com. If you'd like to support me, you can become a member of this channel. For $1.99, you can get access to exclusive content, including exclusive videos, as well as access to my videos before they go public. I appreciate you considering this. You also support me by continuing to watch my videos, liking, sharing, and I do appreciate you watching my videos. And please stay spooky.